So your ACOS, which is your advertising cost of sales, tells you how much your PPC advertising is costing you, exactly as it means, right? Advertising cost of sales is how much your PPC is costing you to generate a sale. And in your campaign manager, it might look something like this. So this is a screenshot of one of my brands, and I think I took the last 30 days or so, and it keeps on going all the way down. And some of my campaigns have an ACOS of 9%, some have an ACOS of 27%, some have an ACOS of 55%. It varies, but on average, my overall ACOS for the entire brand is 27.52%. That's the average. So it might look something like this. Yours might look a bit higher. You might not have as many campaigns just yet. In any case, this is what it looks like in your campaign manager. Now, I'll give you an example of how they calculate your ACOS. So if you spend $10 on a campaign to generate a sale of your product, and your product costs $20, that's your selling price, then your ACOS would be $10 divided by 20, which is 50%. So your ACOS is 50%. One important metric to keep in mind as you optimize, as you scale your campaigns and so forth, is your break-even ACOS. Your break-even ACOS. This is the ACOS percentage at which you are not making a loss and not making a profit. Hence, you are breaking even. You are bang in the middle. Now, this metric is important because it tells you if you are making any profit on your PPC campaigns or not. So by knowing what this metric is and what that number is, you can look at your campaigns and say, that campaign is making me a profit, this one is making me a loss, and so forth. You have an instant snapshot of how well your campaigns are performing. For example, if your break-even ACOS is 45%, then any ACOS higher than 45%, say 65%, tells you that you're losing money on that campaign. Equally, an ACOS lower than 45% indicates that you're making money. You're turning a profit on that campaign. So if your ACOS is 35%, for example, you know that campaign is really profitable, and you might even look to scale that campaign and add more budget to it. The long-term goal of your PPC campaigns is to break even, i.e. don't lose any money. That's the goal. If you're making money on your campaigns, meaning you have an ACOS lower than your break-even percentage, that's amazing, that's fantastic, that's a bonus. The idea behind Amazon PPC is we want to gain rank using PPC, organic rank, and if we can break even on PPC at the very least, then we know that any additional sales that we make organically will be profitable. We don't want any organic sales to cover up or to make up for any unprofitable sales our PPC campaigns might make. So the long-term goal is to break even on PPC and to make money organically. If you are making money via PPC, as I said, fantastic, we can celebrate, but that's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to not lose any money. But while you're launching a new product, you have to be willing to tolerate and accept a much higher ACOS than you would typically. Meaning you have to be able to tolerate a campaign with an ACOS higher than the break-even one. But as you gain rank, as you collect more reviews, your ACOS should go down. In the previous tutorial, we talked about how there are a plethora of different external factors that will affect your PPC campaigns, and that also applies to your ACOS. So keep this in mind. Your reviews, your price point, your review rating, the seasonality, and all these other factors will affect your ACOS. So that's something else to keep in mind. Finally, All of this being said, we should not tolerate a ridiculously high ACOS even during launch. This indicates that we are either overbidding for a keyword, we're poorly converting for that keyword, or we might be targeting the wrong keyword altogether. Or it could be a combination of all of these factors. So a ridiculously high ACOS should never be tolerated. And later on, I'll give you a formula to clearly signify what a ridiculously high ACOS might be for you. Also, keep in mind that your break-even ACOS will change depending on your price, because the price is used to calculate your break-even ACOS. So if you change your price at some point, which obviously you will, then you will have to calculate your new break-even ACOS. To find your break-even ACOS, very simple. You'll need your total pre-advertising cost. So if your landed cost, which is the cost to bring your product to Amazon, which is your cost of goods, and your shipping cost is $5.50, and your total Amazon fees is $7, then your total cost is $12.50. Then your total cost is $12.50. You then find your profit per unit by taking your selling price. So if your selling price is $27.95, and then subtracting your total cost from your selling price. So if your selling price is $27.95, you take away all of your associated costs, your landed cost, which is $5.50, and your Amazon fees, which is $7. This gives you a profit per unit of $15.45. And the last step is you divide your profit per unit by your selling price. So in this case, it'd be $15.45 divided by 27.95, and this gives you a break-even ACOS of 55.3%. Now, I actually put together for you a very neat calculator. So all you have to do is obviously click File and make a copy. You type in your landed cost. So if your landed cost is say $9.52, you type in your total Amazon fees. So that's all the fees Amazon charges you per transaction. So that might be $12.96, and your selling price might be say $45.95. Then your break-even ACOS is over here. So you can use this break-even calculator to work it out. No need to fiddle around with anything yourself. So this means that any ACOS lower than this number is profitable for you. You're making a profit on that campaign or keyword, and any ACOS higher than this percentage is unprofitable. You're incurring a loss. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that, as we said earlier, you have to be willing to tolerate an unprofitable ACOS during launch. But under no circumstances should you tolerate a ridiculously high ACOS, and I would define a ridiculously high ACOS as an ACOS greater than 2 to 3x of your break-even ACOS. Meaning, if your break-even ACOS is 50%, then your ACOS tolerance range will be between 100% to 150%. And again, if you use the calculator, you work out your break-even ACOS by plugging in these numbers, then it also gives you the tolerance range. It gives you what tolerance you should accept. And if your ACOS is ridiculously higher than the higher end, which is maybe say 150, 160, then you know you're doing something wrong, you're not converting, and there's a lot of troubleshooting and diagnosing that you have to do. Or you might be targeting the wrong keyword altogether. So that's something to keep in mind. So ideally, you want to stay out of this range below 102%. That means you're on the right track, and you should very gradually, very incrementally get to your break-even ACOS and lower over the coming weeks and months. But just be warned to stay out of this range. And even if you're within the range, you should be careful and you should be looking to optimize this as quickly as possible. Of course, you'll want your ACOS to be as close to or lower than your break even over the long term. But as I said earlier, you have to be willing to tolerate some losses in the short term while you aim to gain rank for those targeted keywords.